What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Just Zugal back with raw reactions. A little bit of a side note here to keep these videos as short as possible. Only going to go to the highlights from now on. First up, the match between Alberto Del Rio and Big E Langston. Even though it wasn't the first match that they've had, it still felt good. Wasn't too fast-paced, wasn't too slow, and you really didn't know who was going to win. And even in the conclusion of the match, they set up the eventual split of Dolph, and AJ, and Big E. And even JBL was hinting at it. How long is it going to be before Big E thinks, I should be number one contender? So setting up a pretty good summer storyline there. Definitely want to see a match between Big E and Dolph Ziggler. Now next up, I'm very excited about this. The Intercontinental title finally has a damn story to its feud. It seems like in the past they've just been, in the back when they're deciding all the booking and all this. They just take a dart, have everybody's name up on a wall, and just toss it right there and see who it hits. But now you have three guys, they have some problem with one another, and the Intercontinental title's involved. You see, it's not that hard. That's how you book a title match. People who want to fight and they have a title involved, there you go. Make it more meaningful by putting a title on the line. Hopefully they start going forward in this tradition. It's not just this guy gets a match. There should be some reasoning behind it, and I think this is going to help start building up the Intercontinental title again. Next highlight for me, I loved this segment, the highlight reel with Chris Jericho and Paul Heyman. Seeing those two go back and forth, it was just great stuff to watch. Two of the best talkers in the business. I loved the bit where Paul Heyman thought Jericho was talking about Brock Lesnar, and he just said, I don't care about Brock Lesnar. I want CM Punk. And he does have a valid point. How can CM Punk still call himself the best in the world if he's not on the show week in and week out? Now, I'm not saying, I'm not like a mark where I'm saying, he's not on the show, blah, blah, blah. I know he needs time to heal up, but from a show standpoint, it does make sense. So now we know that CM Punk is going to be coming back at Payback and hopefully facing Chris Jericho, which I think would be a great match for him to come back to. Those two should put on a pretty good match. Another thing I'm very glad to see, 3 Stages of Hell is going to be making a comeback. Now, as an old school wrestling fan, I firmly believe that for the conclusion of a feud, you really need to have just a big match, something like 3 Stages of Hell, a cage match, Hell in a Cell, even a ladder match, something like that to put like the final stamp on the feud and say, alright, these two gave it everything they got. You can have gimmick matches here or there in the feud, have like a tables match or whatever, but I'm just glad this is back. It was a great match concept. It's not used all that often, so hopefully that'll turn out a good one, and who knows, they might let Ryback win this one. It seems like with all the progress he's been making, and it does seem like he's turning into pretty good heel now, so hopefully we'll see where it goes from here. Now, another thing I definitely want to talk about, the Wyatt promo, Bray Wyatt I believe is the pronunciation of it, that was just outstanding. I haven't got chills like that since, 2004, 2005, when they had the Sean O'Hare promos. It was just something different. It was a surreal feeling, and having that home video quality to it, I think was just outstanding. I can't wait to see what they do with these guys. It definitely seems like it'll be interesting, to say the least, so can't wait for that. The segment backstage between Kane and Daniel Bryan, and eventually Bret Hart, I just thought was great. A little bit of comic relief to it, but overall, great segment. Again, the tag team title rematch between The Shield and Team Hell No, great stuff there. They could book that match over and over again, and I'd still find it entertaining. Another thing I'd like to talk about is the backstage segment between Bret Hart and Curtis Axel. It seemed like, they were having a feel-good moment there when Bret was talking about Kurt Hennig, and Curtis had that look in his eye, like he was remembering his father. And then as soon as Bret said, best thing for you to be getting rid of Paul Heyman, he just turned like that. Great segment, and hopefully they keep going with this. So hopefully it's going to be, almost like Curtis Axel finally starts seeing, like, maybe things aren't right here. Should be interesting going forward. But, really, that's all about the highlights that I saw this week. Let me know what you guys thought. Were there anything that stood out in your mind, or you hate any of it? Let me know in the comments below.